The aliens fired at the oldest ship in humanity's fleet. They did not understand why every human admiral immediately ordered a retreat. To the Karath Empire, the ship looked weak. Its name was EHS Resolute. It was 140 years old. Its armor was scarred. Its engines were slow. Its weapons looked outdated. Its bridge was filled with brass handles, pressure gauges, physical switches, and old green screens that flickered like ghosts from another century. At the Galactic Peace Ceremony above the moon of Vera, thousands of advanced ships had gathered. Human destroyers, alien cruisers, diplomatic vessels, civilian transports. Every powerful civilization in known space had come to celebrate peace. And in the center of the ceremony floated the oldest operational battleship Earth still possessed. Many alien officers laughed. Commander Varn of the Karath Empire stared at the human vessel through his display. "That is Earth's honor ship," he asked. His officer smiled. "It belongs in a museum." Varn leaned closer. "Then why did every human admiral salute it?" Nobody answered. On the bridge of the Resolute stood Captain Elias Ward. He was 78 years old. His hair was white. His hands were wrinkled. His uniform looked older than most officers in the fleet. But every human commander in orbit knew his name. Ward had commanded ships before artificial intelligence controlled war, before fleets became dependent on invisible networks, before young captains trusted screens more than instinct. Beside him stood Lieutenant Mara Vale, a young officer assigned to ceremonial duty. She looked out at the alien ships. "They are laughing at us, Captain." Ward did not move. "Good," Mara turned. "Good. If an enemy laughs at your ship," Ward said, "he has stopped looking for what can kill him." Below the bridge, retired engineers moved through narrow corridors. They checked manual valves, oiled mechanical controls, tested thick backup cables, loaded old signal flares. Young cadets watched them with confusion. Modern ships repaired themselves. Modern ships aimed themselves. Modern ships fought faster than human thought. The Resolute did none of that. It waited, like an old soldier standing quietly in a room full of kings. Then the peace ceremony began. Every ship connected to the shared diplomatic network. Translation systems linked. Safety channels opened. Fleet computers synchronized. And that was when every screen in orbit turned white. For one silent second, nothing moved. Then every modern warship went dark, except one, the Resolute, and Captain Ward whispered the words no one wanted to hear. "It has begun." Across Vera's orbit, panic spread instantly. Human destroyers lost formation. Alien cruisers drifted helplessly. Civilian ships spun out of their lanes. Engines failed. Shields collapsed. Navigation systems froze. Weapons locked behind dead computers. The most advanced fleets in the galaxy had been defeated without a single missile. Admiral Chen, commander of Earth's modern fleet, tried to contact the other ships. Every channel returned static. Then the truth became clear. It was a cyber weapon. The Karath Empire had hidden it inside the peace ceremony network. Every ship had joined that network for translation, coordination, and safety. And every ship that trusted the network had opened its own door. In one moment, the weapon infected thousands of vessels. It shut down engines, corrupted targeting systems, burned navigation logic, and trapped the galaxy's strongest fleets inside their own dead machines. But the Resolute remained alive. Its bridge lights flickered once, then steadied. A real bell rang deep inside the old ship. Not a digital alarm, a metal bell. Captain Ward looked at Mara. "Report." She stared at the old control panel, trying to understand instruments she had barely trained on. Primary computers are offline. Ceremony link is dead. Digital targeting is gone. Ward nodded. "Engines?" Chief Engineer Tomas Reed grinned from the throttle station. "Manual fuel control is alive. Turret motors are alive. Pressure doors are alive. Radio is alive if someone still remembers how to tune it." Mara looked through the viewport. Every modern ship was blind, but the oldest battleship in humanity's fleet was still breathing. "Captain," she said quietly, "we are the only warship still moving." Ward's expression hardened. "No, we are the only warship they were foolish enough to ignore." Then dark shapes appeared beyond the moon, first 10, then 50, then hundreds. Black Karath warships emerged from silent space, sharp and cold, moving toward the helpless fleets. The peace ceremony had been a trap. They had gathered every major civilization in one place. Then they had blinded them. Now thousands of civilian ships were trapped between a dead fleet and an invading empire. Commander Varn's voice came through an open broadcast. "To all vessels, surrender power and prepare for occupation. Resistance will be erased." On the Resolute, the young cadets froze. Mara looked at Captain Ward. "This ship cannot stop an empire." Ward walked to the center of the bridge. "No." He placed one hand on the rail. "But it can stand in the way." He turned toward the crew, cut ceremonial flags. The old ship trembled as its colors changed. "Raise battle colors." Outside, the Karath fleet locked weapons on the ancient battleship, and for the first time the laughing stopped. The Resolute moved toward the civilian fleet, slowly, heavily. Its engines burned like an old furnace waking after a long winter. To the Karath, it looked like a relic trying to pretend it was still dangerous. To Captain Ward, it felt like coming home. He ordered every young crew member away from dead digital stations. Manual posts only. Cadets who had trained on glass screens now stood before iron wheels, lever boards, pressure gauges, and optical scopes. They looked afraid. The old ship did not forgive careless hands. Chief Engineer Reed entered the bridge with oil on his sleeves and smoke on his collar. "She is stubborn," Reed said. Ward looked at him. "She always was." Reed smiled. "Good thing we are too." Mara watched retired engineers climb into old service tunnels. "These systems should not still work." Reed gave her a sharp look. "Machines work when people respect them." Then the first Karath fighters attacked. They aimed directly for the civilian fleet. Behind the Resolute were thousands of helpless ships, families, workers, diplomats, children, all trapped in powerless vessels. Ward watched them through the optical viewer. "Helm put us between the attackers and the civilians." Mara stepped closer. "Captain, if they focus fire, they will tear us apart." Ward did not look away. "Then they will have to tear through us first." The Resolute turned its massive bow toward the enemy. 3 Karath fighters fired blue energy lances. The blast struck the old armor. The ship shook violently. Young crew members fell. Lights burst above the bridge. But the armor held. Because the Resolute had been built before shields became trusted, its designers had expected real war. Missiles, railguns, plasma, debris, fire. So they had wrapped the ship in layers of steel, ceramic, and titanium. Ward gripped the rail. Forward turret, manual aim, range by optics. Deep inside the gun deck, retired gunner Hale placed his eye against an old sighting scope. "No network, no lock," he muttered. "Just light and math." A young cadet beside him loaded the firing sequence by hand. The turret turned with a deep mechanical roar. The enemy fighters came closer. Mara waited for the order to destroy them. Instead, Ward said, "Warning shot." She stared at him. "Captain, there are living crews inside those ships." The Resolute fired. A solid tungsten round crossed space and passed beside the lead fighter. It tore off part of the wing and sent the ship spinning away, disabled but alive. The other fighters broke formation. For the first time, the Karath hesitated. Ward leaned into the old radio. "All civilian vessels, this is Captain Elias Ward of the Earth Battleship Resolute. Stay calm. Conserve air. Activate manual power if you have it. We are now between you and the enemy." A frightened civilian voice answered. "You are only one ship." Ward looked at the enemy fleet, then at the civilians behind him. "No," he said. "We are the ship that still works." But then the moon's shadow darkened, and the Karath destroyers arrived. The Karath destroyers were faster than the Resolute. Their weapons were stronger. Their engines were cleaner. Their sensors were newer. On paper, the old human ship should have lasted less than 3 minutes. But Captain Ward refused to fight on paper. "Shut down all active signals," he ordered. Mara looked shocked. "No radar, no targeting pulse. No. How will we see them?" Ward pointed toward the old glass scope. "With our eyes." The Resolute went nearly silent. No combat network. No guidance system. No active scanning. Only cold armor, optical lenses, manual engines, and human judgment. On the Kareth command ship, Commander Varn grew furious. "Why can our systems not predict its movement?" His officer hesitated. "It is not following a combat algorithm." "Then what is guiding it?" The officer looked unsettled. "A man." Ward studied the moon below. Its gravity pulled on every ship in orbit. Modern commanders let computers handle such things. Ward had learned to feel them. "Helm," he said, "reduce burn by 3%. Let the moon pull us down." Mara checked the path. "That will look like engine failure." Ward nodded. "Exactly." The Kareth destroyers rushed forward, believing the ancient ship was losing control. But the Resolute was falling on purpose. At the last moment, Ward gave the order. Hard manual burn. The old battleship dropped beneath the enemy's firing line. The Kareth destroyers overshot. Their own formation blocked their weapons. Launch decoys. Old heat canisters fired from the Resolute's side tubes. No computers, no code. Just burning metal gas and reflective foil. The enemy sensors saw false engine trails everywhere. They fired at ghosts. The civilian fleet remained safe. But the Resolute suffered. A blast struck its port armor. A corridor collapsed. Smoke filled 2 decks. Pressure dropped in sections 7 through 9. Mara's voice shook. "Captain, we are losing air." Ward turned to Reed. "Seal it manually." Reed was already moving. 3 retired engineers followed him into the damaged section. A young cadet froze as sparks rained from the ceiling. Reed grabbed his shoulder. "Look at me. Machines are honest. They tell you what is wrong. You answer with your hands." Together they turned the emergency wheels. The doors sealed. The ship survived. Then Ward saw the Kareth command ship moving forward. Larger than the rest, protected by escorts, controlling the entire invasion. Mara noticed his silence. "You found their weakness." Ward watched the enemy's forward cannon begin to glow. "I found a way to silence them." "Destroy them?" Ward shook his head. "No." He looked at the helpless enemy ships around it. "A captain without mercy is only another weapon." The Resolute turned away from the civilians and aimed itself at the heart of the Kareth fleet. Commander Varn could not believe what he was seeing. The oldest human battleship was coming straight toward his command ship. Its armor was burned. Its engines were damaged. Its hull was leaking fire and vapor, and still it came. "End this," Varn ordered. The Kareth command ship charged its main cannon. One direct shot would split the Resolute in half. On the human bridge, alarms rang from every wall. Mara looked through the optical scope. "Captain, their main weapon is almost ready." Ward nodded. "Distance, closing." "Good," Mara stared at him. "Captain, why is that good?" Ward pointed at the enemy hull. "Below the cannon, watch the intake." She adjusted the old scope. There it was. A narrow cooling vent opening and closing beneath the weapon core. A modern targeting computer would have ignored it because the Kareth surrounded it with false heat signatures. But Ward was not using a computer. He was using patience, experience, and one old gunner with steady hands. Ward opened the intercom. "Hale, can you place 1 round through that intake?" The gun deck went quiet. Then Hale answered. "With modern targeting, maybe. And without it," another pause. "Give me our drift, the moon's pull, and 5 seconds of silence." Ward almost smiled. "You always ask for impossible things." Then he gave the order. "Cut engines." For 5 seconds the Resolute drifted in perfect silence. No vibration, no correction burn, no machine guessing, only gravity, motion, and a human eye. Hale placed his hand on the firing wheel. The Kareth cannon reached full charge. Commander Varn leaned forward. "Fire!" Ward spoke at the same moment. "Fire!" The Resolute's turret erupted. 1 solid tungsten round crossed the battlefield. It entered the cooling intake of the Kareth command ship. Not the bridge, not the crew decks, not the life support core. The cooling intake. The enemy cannon overheated instantly. Its safety systems shut the weapon down. Then the command network collapsed. Across the battlefield, Kareth ships lost coordination. Their cyberweapon began to fail. One by one, disabled fleets around Vera came back to life. Human destroyers restarted. Alien cruisers regained control. Civilian vessels restored emergency power. Admiral Chen's voice returned over the channel. "Captain Ward, we have control." Mara looked at the enemy command ship. "They are helpless now." Ward's voice was tired but firm. "Then hold fire," Mara turned. "They attack civilians." "Yes," Ward said. "And now we will show them why mercy is not weakness." The revived fleet surrounded the Kareth ships. Without their command vessel, the invasion collapsed. The attackers surrendered. There was no massacre, no revenge strike, only silence. Then across thousands of vessels, lights began to turn toward the Resolute. One ship, then 10, then hundreds, then the entire civilian fleet. A salute. No alien officer laughed now. Even Commander Varn, taken into custody, looked through the viewport at the wounded human battleship and finally understood. Humanity had not kept the Resolute for ceremony. They had kept it because some lessons should never be thrown away. Steel still mattered. Manual skill still mattered. Old knowledge still mattered. And mercy still mattered most of all. Later, Mara found Captain Ward alone on the damaged bridge. "Captain," she said softly, "the galaxy wants to know why you were chosen." Ward looked at the cracked glass screens, the burned panels, the old switches, and the crew holding the ship together with courage and duty. Then he placed his hand on the rail. "Because I was not chosen to command the newest weapon." He looked out at the rescued ships. "I was chosen to remember the old ones." Outside, the civilian fleet opened a path. The Resolute turned slowly toward Earth. Its engines rumbled, wounded but alive. The oldest ship in humanity's fleet carried its crew home, not as a museum piece, not as a relic, but as proof. That wisdom does not expire. That mercy is stronger than revenge. And that when the future falls silent, sometimes the past is the only thing powerful enough to save its subscribe.